Well, that's how it ended in retrospect for Patrice Bergeron. He has now announced his retirement. 20 glorious years.
Wow.
I mean, that is
unheard of.
It really is amazing unto itself. And, let's get the instant reaction to Bergeron walking away. Joining us now on the Harbor One hotline, he was a part of Jock Itch yesterday. And today he is talking about his commercial mate from all the way back in the early 2000s, our friend Andrew Raycroft with Gresh and Fourier. Razor, are you surprised at all at Bergie walking away?
The timing, for sure. It seemed as the longer this went, maybe he's going to, he gave us some hope and maybe he's going to stick around. But I don't think even, over the last couple of years and where Patrice is at in his life and his career and everything he's done, I don't think any of us should be shocked or surprised. I think it's just it actually happened, and that part of it is final.
So you mentioned the timing. So, I mean, based on everything that was going on, we're just talking about it with Gresh, like a lot of people dismissing, like the signs. The signs were obvious. Plays for a cheap deal. Says goodbye in Montreal, unfortunately gets hurt. I mean, the signs were there, right? I mean, if you allow yourself to be honest with yourself and not, live in imagination land, like the signs were there that he was done.
Yeah, exactly. And you saw the farewell on the Garden. Unfortunately, Game 7 of the first round, not of the Stanley Cup Finals. The way the season went, I know we talked about it, whether on air and off air, just how easy the regular season was for the Boston Bruins last year, winning every game, how much fun that is. And as a veteran player, knowing you're never rolling that back again, that had to have been a part of it. And then the back injury at the end. So all of these things, it'll be interesting to see if there was a decision pre-made or if this happened over the last few weeks or when it happened, and just listening to Patrice from that. But certainly there was, again, why it's not shocking or surprising is because of all those signs you just talked about.
Razor, Fourier just sort of flippantly mentioned in our commentary about 10 minutes ago that this guy still has game left. But as you get older, it's harder to get to the point to where you can play the game the way Patrice Bergeron does. There's still game left, but is he the player that he once was? Is this more of a, we talk about like load management in the NBA, that if Bergeron did come back, would you have to exercise some load management with the guy because it is getting harder for him to play at a Selke-type level?
Well, it certainly is, and the fact that there's no question there's game left. I mean, he just won another Selke a month ago, and the season that he had, the leadership capabilities. But I think it's always underestimated how hard it is to stay at that level and how much has to go into it on a daily basis through 165, 170 days of a regular season. And I think as we get older, just everybody, you want to spend more time. You don't want to be doing your job 24 hours a day, and you get to a point where it's just better not to play. And I think Patrice is also a very proud person in that he doesn't want to be a third-line player or a fourth-line player to help the team. This is what he is. This is what he's been his entire life, and he's going out on top as much as most professional athletes possibly can.
Yeah, and Razor, I'm just sitting there thinking about him like, wow, like he actually means it. Most guys, if you threw a bucket of money at them, like at this point in time, with his pedigree, his reputation, his hardware, regardless of his age, he's a valuable commodity on a team that's close. But I mean, so I actually, he's the one guy that I look at and say he doesn't give a crap about the money.
No, he doesn't, and yeah, I'm thinking the same way a little bit, and man, that's probably why I didn't win 6 Selkies or 6 Vezina trophies. Is that he could go anywhere he wants and make $5 or $6 million for the next 3 years. I'm sure there's 10 teams wherever he wanted to go that would do that. But again, I think that goes to what kind of a person he is, all the love and admiration that he's gotten in this city, all of the kind words and from teammates like myself who have talked so glowingly about him I think it just comes through again in how he's retiring and when he's retiring and staying with this one franchise for this long.
Our friend Andrew Raycroft of Nesson, and of course here at WEEI, with us on the Harbor One hotline. And Razor, how will you remember Patrice Bergeron? Who was the guy maybe that you knew when y'all first came into the league to this guy who's still at even a hockey advanced age is out there winning a Selke?
Yeah, it's funny, and again, we've talked a lot. My wife and I, especially, have talked a lot just since we've come back. And I mean, I missed the Bruins winning a cup here. I wasn't around. I was still in the league, bombing around. So I missed a lot of Patrice's career. So what I remember is 2003, 2004, and him coming in and just every day getting better as an 18-year-old kid. And the second round, 18-year-olds never made NHL hockey teams, and he just continued to do it, and we'd be in the room together, and he'd chug out another day with the behemoths that were out on the ice, and he found a way to get smarter. He found a way to get better every day, and for him to have carried it on this long is something and he hasn't changed. I guess that's the other thing that sticks with me is that after everything he's done with his career, he literally acts the exact same as he did as an 18-year-old kid. And I say that in as positive way as I possibly can. He's just a humble person, a great person, and
I almost don't believe it.
I don't say I'm proud of people. He's just proud. Like, he should be so proud of himself.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I just almost don't believe it because those people don't exist. They don't. Okay, they don't exist. And I feel like you're so. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I heard this story, and I hope I'm getting this right. That when he got into the league, he didn't speak English, right? And that when he would go out to dinner, he had no idea what to get, so he basically just repeated whoever ordered next to him. So if you were sitting next to him, he just repeated. He just said, "I'll have that also." Do you know? Do you have any remembrance? Do you have any? Is that true remotely?
Yeah, no, 1,000,000%. He grew up in Quebec City. He played junior in a French-speaking place. And listen, he could get by and we could talk, but it wasn't comfortable for him in any way whatsoever. So, he had Marty Lapointe, he had Felix Potvin on that team. A lot of times those guys were going to dinner, and that's what he was. And he worked just as hard. Now he doesn't even have an accent.
No, that's my point. He worked just as hard.
He's worked so hard at those things as he has on the ice. And again, that's the pride that he has in being a good person and doing the right thing. And there's so many teammates that you guys know that I know that act like that and have some of that persona in the media, but aren't really like that. There's none of that with this guy, and it's a celebration day for him. And I hope that he certainly has put a lot of time and effort into this thought too, into this decision. That is the case with him, and it's sad to see him go.
So now, what about the Bruins from here on out? No captain, need a new captain, got to repurpose the leadership. How do you think that all ends up shaking down, and how does Don Sweeney go about trying to replace a player of this caliber with no cap space?
Well, you're not replacing him. You hope Charlie Coyle, Pavel Zacha have learned over the years, and we've seen them play extremely well, especially in the playoffs without Patrice Bergeron. It will be interesting to see if it's a consistency that Patrice has brought in to the game, and can guys do it on a nightly basis? So it doesn't help. It certainly doesn't help this team because we talked about the level Patrice has been playing at. I think leadership wise, the culture won't change. I think Zdeno Chara brought it. Patrice has carried it on, and they, as an organization, have made sure to have the right people in place. The Charlie McAvoys, the Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, go down the line. These are all very solid human beings that are going to be just as prideful to continue and play well without Patrice Bergeron and show that they can play without Patrice Bergeron at the level that this team has been at the last 4 or 5 years.
I'm seeing a text from the 401 that says Bergeron's one of 22 members of the Triple Gold Club, which actually sounds like something Wiggy would have it dossiers during the ALCS, but an Olympic gold medal, a World Championship gold medal, and a Stanley Cup. To those of us who are not Canadian, I don't know if that triple gold club sort of status connects. You would think it's more like going to Hertz. So help us out in understanding from a Canadian's perspective how being one of 22 people in that club is really such an elite place to live.
Well, it's so elite, especially because the NHL players hadn't started the Olympics until '98. So many of the older guys didn't get the opportunity to be in that club. And as a Canadian, that means you won an Olympic gold medal for your country, which is as big as it possibly can get at a national level for someone playing in the NHL and from Canada. So I know there's a bunch of Swedish guys that played in Detroit over the years. Patrice is one of the guys here in Canada. There's not going to be a lot of names on that list at the end of the next century. So that's a very special place, and it means that you've contributed to hockey in a big way, and it means you're also a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Well, so where will his street be near the Garden? Like, is there any streets they can rename? What are you thinking? Like, if you had, where would
Bergeron's Alley?
Yeah, where would it be? Is there
Probably
room for one of
street.
his? What street can they rename? Honestly, because there's got to be a name over there.
They got to do a street name for Patrice. I'm not sure if he's a statue guy with Bobby.
Oh,
but
there
maybe
you
that
go.
Too.
Well, is he a statue guy? Good question. Is he a statue guy?
No, he's great, but no.
There's the debate. Does he
I
deserve a statue? Razor, you got to say it now.
It's a good debate. I haven't got. No, I don't have to say. I got to think about this. I know his numbers.
You're still in denial.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Are you
I'm
in
still
denial right now?
Let me get through the day. We got a lot of work to do. I got to get through the day.
There you go. Hey, Razor, thanks for jumping on with us. We know that you're busy heading to Nessa and all that kind of stuff. We appreciate it, friend.
Thanks,
I'm
buddy.
sure we'll see you soon.
No, you got it, guys. Enjoy Foxborough. It's going to be hot. Bring us
Let's
up.
go. I got the baby powder. I'm ready.
I got the big fan ready to go. Thanks, brother. There goes Andrew Raycroft with us on the Harbor One hotline. The Bruins have just tweeted out as of 5 minutes ago. It's all of the, I guess I would call it all of the photos of Bergeron, right? Like one with the Selkie and the whole when he came into the league and hoisting the Stanley Cup. And it says, Patrice, there are not enough words to describe the impact you have left on our organization, your teammates, the people you've worked with, the fans you gave everything for, and the city and region you represented so well. You did it all with the utmost respect, class, and character. Quite simply, you always made us proud. For everything we say, and then in capital letters, thank you. That was from the Bruins to Patrice.
And then they did the same thing in French.
Oh, they did.
They got to.
Yeah.
I mean, he did, so you got to.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that is ultimately the debate. So I get it. Congratulations, unbelievable career, 20 years. My mind just exploded. It's almost impossible. So the question is he street worthy? Is he statue worthy? That really becomes the next discussion. How do you memorialize his career? How do you make it so everybody recognizes? Because he is a unicorn. Like, forget about what he did on the ice. Like what he did, how he is as a person, and I mean this is clear as anything. Those guys, the way he's wired, they don't exist anymore.
See, I was going to say, because on one hand, you were like, oh, those guys don't exist, and now you're praising him for being a human being that played with class and represented the city and the organization.
It's easy
and all
to say,
that.
I want to play, but it's another thing to do it for 20 years, and the other thing is to literally have the courage of your convictions. I'm not about the money. I just want to win. I didn't believe him for a second. I was like, I don't believe it. How are you going to pass? 3 teams, you're a Razor, 3-4 teams. $5 million a year.
Yep.
And then your last 2 years, you can just sit on the bench. He's too proud. It's too important to him. His reputation is too important to him. That's why I'm like, this is nuts.
And that is where, when it comes to a tiebreaker, so if someone looks at Brady and they look at Ortiz and they talk about Bergeron, and then, I'm assuming the Celtic that you would identify with in that era would most likely be Paul Pierce. That's the one thing that Patrice Bergeron has over all of these guys, And it really is a sliding scale within the fans as to how much it matters, is that he only played here. And it's